Hello and welcome to Hello Governor, the podcast. As always, I am Abdullah, and my guest today is introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bryn McAuley.
Is that how you pronounce your last name, Macaulay?
That's right, yes.
Like Macaulay Culkin?
Exactly like Macaulay Culkin.
Interesting, because it's another one of those cases where it's like it's spelt a certain way, but it's not pronounced the way it's spelt, and that always confuses me.
Yeah, this one you can trust the spelling, fortunately.
So, first question is the obvious one: how did you get started, and what made you want to get into voiceover?
I got started as a child actor. My grandma wrote scripts for preschool animation, and I went with her. This was before the internet. Um, uh, to an agency, to an acting agency, to drop off a script for another actor. And the agent asked me if I wanted to go to an audition, and I did. And then I booked that job and just kept going.
And starting at a young age, like, was it hard? Like, as you got older, was it harder to what do you call it? Like, get rid of the stigma of being a child actor? Because with child actors, like, it's kind of hard for them to get work, consistent work after they hit puberty and become adults, and because there's always going to be that stigma attached to you, where it's like, well, I know so and so. They used to be a child actor, and that's all people remember you for, and it's kind of hard to break out from that stigma. Was that hard for you, or was it easy, like transitioning from like child actor to regular actor?
It was very hard. I did not have a good time of that. Um, it's hard because, first of all, when you're a kid acting, you just have imagination and you just trust your instincts, basically. And then as you get older, you become self-conscious and you need to become, you need to develop a craft and you need to develop like a method. Um, so that transition is hard. Taking yourself seriously is hard. Um, and yeah, I think it's like your self-perception is also really strange because it's like, okay, you were a kid, you were just kind of like cute and precocious and got jobs and doesn't necessarily translate to being a working adult actor.
And having like a higher register, like higher pitched voice, do you feel like that limits the type of roles you can go for, or are you fine with playing like kids and teenagers?
I would like to be better at playing adults. I would definitely like to be better at that. Playing moms, that's hopefully on my bingo card for 2025. I need to figure out how to do that.
Because like I have noticed like this thing in voiceover where if someone has like a really high pitched voice or they're on like a lower register, they're usually cast as like that they become that archetype where it's like, oh, we know this guy, he can do like really deep voices, or oh, we know this gal, she can do like squeaky, high pitched voices. Like you will forever be a kid.
Yeah, it is funny. I feel like I will forever be a kid. I had an audition 3 weeks ago to play a baby, and it was between me and an actual 6-year-old girl, and she got it.
And that's another thing. It's like now they're starting to get like actual children to voice in these projects, and then that becomes a whole thing where it's like they're getting like actual kids to do voiceover now, and then that's another hurdle that you got to overcome, where it's like, oh man, now I'm competing with actual children. Like,
Yeah, now I have to be better at being a kid than a kid. Um, yeah, it happens a lot where they'll be like, you'll get a whole audition for a whole new show, and they'll be like, we haven't decided yet if we want kids or adults. So they'll audition both. And they always go with kids because kids just sound more like kids, to be very profound.
and out of all the characters you voiced, which one would you say was the toughest?
The toughest, oh gosh. You know what? Baby Bop is hard for me. Baby Bop is hard to sustain because her voice is really gravelly. So that's hard for me because my voice is not that raspy.
And how do you like, when you're doing something like that, how do you avoid vocal damage?
Um, I don't think I do avoid vocal damage. I think I do hurt my voice a lot. And yeah, if anyone out there has tips, DM me.
Because I mean, you're not the first person I've talked to who's like, yeah, I went in for this thing. I thought it was going to be easy, and then I came out of it like just completely destroyed my vocal cords.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we do sometimes. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. I play on a movie that's about to come out called Night of the Zoopocalypse. I play a bunny who becomes a zombie. And she has a lot of different iterations of how bad her zombiness gets, and sometimes it makes her kind of how do I say this without giving anything away? Her range really fluctuates, and some parts of her range were very hard for me.
Oh, but that's also another challenge where it's like, oh, you're playing a bunny who turns into a zombie, and then it's like, okay, so I'm playing a bunny who turns into a zombie. So you want a zombie, but it's not a zombie, it's a zombie bunny. Go.
You nailed it, man. You nailed it. It's exactly that. Layers. There's layers.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like I can't imagine like, doing something like that and not vocally like hurting yourself is a lot of fun, you know. I mean, I can't imagine like trying to navigate that minefield where it's like, okay, how can I do this without hurting myself and also like giving the best performance I can give? Because that's another thing where it's like, you're not only playing a creature or whatever, you're also like, I want to make sure that I give the best performance I can because like streaming is a thing now and people will watch these things forever and I got to make sure that my performance like lasts an eternity now.
Totally. You want to do the best work you can always. You want the people who hired you to be happy. You want to be proud of yourself. So yeah, I think that's why sometimes video game actors will say this all the time too. They just kind of hurt themselves. They just kind of like hurt themselves while they're in the job because you want to do a good job so badly.
And when you got the role of Mavis on Hotel Transylvania, the series, like, did they specifically want a voice match or did they want to sound alike?
In the beginning, they wanted a voice match. So I was just like constantly saying to myself, Dad, when you turn 118, you said I could go out into the world just like everyone else that gets to come and go from this hotel. And just trying as much as I could to sound like exactly like Selena Gomez. And then when I got the job, they were like, now we've decided you can do your own thing. And it wasn't important to them at all that I sounded like her. So then I made her a lot closer to my own natural voice.
Because while I was watching the series, I was kind of surprised that, it's supposed to be the same character, but they sound nothing alike and they act nothing alike, and it's like, okay then.
It is a bit funny. For the Adam Sandler, for Drac, they really wanted to sound alike and they wanted a very similar character. But yeah, no, Mavis in the series sounds nothing like Selena Gomez.
And because I remember like when the first trailer dropped for that and people like reacted to it, it's like, why is she so different? Why is she like a spunky teen now? It's like, what is
Yeah,
going on?
totally. She's young. She is younger, exact. It's kind of like a prequel. So yeah, she's younger and she's like got more leadership qualities, I guess. And she doesn't care about boys.
And do you watch any of the stuff you work on, or can you not stand listening to yourself?
Oh no, I do watch it when I can find it when it comes out. Sometimes it's so long after you record it. Um, no, I also like watching the stuff that I do because I can give myself notes and like how what I want to do better at next time.
So you're one of those people who's like, I don't mind listening to myself and I don't mind being hypercritical of myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think everything's a learning opportunity.
Because that's rare. Like whenever I talk to people, whenever I ask that question, they're like, I can't stand listening to myself. I'm too hypercritical. I just can't.
Oh, no, I don't know. I think does it sound bad? I think I'm okay at this. Like I've been doing it for a long time. So if I listen to something, I'm like, ooh, I needed to goose that a bit, or this could have come across better. It's also so fun to hear everyone else who's in the show with you. Like it's very joyful, I find.
Have you ever gotten a chance to record ensemble?
Yes, Hotel Transylvania was entirely ensemble. That was a blast. So I got to be with Joe Motiki and Ebony Rosen and Gage Monroe, who played Hank. Um, and gosh, so many things. A new show that's about to come out next year called Mermicorno Starfall for Warner Brothers. That was all ensemble. Pinata Smashlings that I'm on right now. That's all ensemble. It's coming back.
And when you're working ensemble, do you like, do you take mental notes of what the other actors are doing, where it's like, oh, that's really good. I should try that.
Totally. I've learned so much about comedy from other actors.
What would you say was your biggest learning experience during ensemble records?
I did a show called Grojband in 2011 or 12, and Tim Beresford, who plays Con, was like so extremely physical in the booth. Everything he did, he used his whole body, and he was hilarious. And I took that away. Now I'm very physical behind the microphone, and it's changed my work completely.
Okay, has there ever been a point where you're acting out physical, where you became too physical and you were starting to like knock shit over? Was there ever a point?
Totally. Yes, hitting your mic stand. I did a cartoon where I was like holding onto a balloon as it was floating away. And they were like, "We can't, you're way off mic." Like you just floated way off mic. That's definitely a problem, yes.
And how did you get involved in the total drama franchise?
Total Drama was a funny one because I didn't get onto Total Drama until season 5. There had been I felt like every actor in Toronto was on Total Drama and I was so jealous. So when the season 5 auditions came out, I first auditioned for Ella, who was the like Snow White singing character, and we had to sing in the audition. So I wrote a song to the tune of Part of Your World from Little Mermaid that was like directed to Tom McGillis, who runs Fresh TV. And I basically just like, I called it Part of Your World, but it was just like basically me begging to be a part of his world and be on Total Drama. And they fortunately liked it. But then they were like, please read for Amy and Samey instead, because you're not booking this job.
When you were doing Amy and Samey, what tricks did you implement to make them sound different? Because I know they're twins and they both have similar voices. Like, but what did you personally do to differentiate the two?
For me, it was really about my body. Amy, sorry, Samey or Sammy, as she prefers to be called, um, definitely was more kind of hunched and self-conscious. And Amy would definitely have a better posture and be yeah, I think I did it a lot with my body. My body was very helpful.
So again, it just goes back to that whole physicality thing where it's like I have
Yes,
to. It's not enough for you to voice the character. You have to physically be the character at that point.
totally. If you ever see footage of Robin Williams recording the genie in Aladdin, he is like bouncing off the walls. He's so physical and he's so obviously brilliantly funny.
And how did you get involved in the Ridonculous race? Was that like a call-in or was that another audition?
That was also an audition. Yeah, I think I auditioned for like maybe 5 or 6 characters on that. Um, but I was kind of in my hot spot then of playing mean girls. So I booked Taylor.
And what were some of your favorite Taylor lines?
I'm a really good artist. Probably, definitely the best in my class and probably the whole world. Or like when she's mean to her mom. We're definitely going to win this thing. If my mom doesn't ruin it.
Because I love the mother-daughter dynamic because they're antagonists and they're really fun antagonists, and plus you got to work with like an industry legend with yeah. So
With Julie Lemieux,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, she is a hero of mine for sure.
And was that recorded ensemble or was that separate?
We were separate for that, sadly.
That happens a lot. Whenever I ask someone, it's like, "Oh, you worked on this project with this like really big celebrity actor." It's like, and they're like, "No, I recorded my lines separately. I wish I met them."
Oh my gosh, yeah, all the time. I'm on a movie called Gracie and Pedro, right? That just came out actually on the 22nd or 18th. And Danny Trejo's in it, Brooke Shields is in it, Susan Sarandon is in it, Alicia Silverstone is in it, and I did not meet any of those people.
And when you're recording alone, do you like do they usually give you like a what do you call it? Like a lead in or is it like a case of like you go in there alone and the other actor has recorded beforehand and they play you their lines?
They do not play you anything. I think one of the things that's probably least known and maybe least appreciated about the voice actor's talent is that they are not responding to anybody. They are responding as if they've just heard someone talking to them, but they have not.
And when you audition for a role, do you get a picture of the character or do you go off a vague description?
We used to get a picture. We rarely get a picture now. Pictures help me so much. But they're so much secretive now. They're much more secretive.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be working for like a big name company like the Warner Brothers or whatever, it's like, of course they're going to be secretive because they're like, oh, we're not going to tell you what this is for.
Yes, it's true. Everyone's guarding their company secrets now.
And you've played villains and heroes. Do you have a personal preference or does it not make a difference to you?
I love playing villains. I love playing villains. Villains get to do whatever they want, you know? Villains also have so much range. Um, Villains can toy with people, villains can threaten, villains can act innocent. Yeah, villains are, I think most actors will tell you they love to play villains.
And what was the best and worst piece of advice you've ever been given as an actor?
Oh gosh. Best piece of advice? Um, I think the best piece of advice is about failure, um, which I got from clown classes. Which sounds kind of crazy, but clown, like not when people think of clown, they think of like birthday clowns. But clown is actually one of the oldest forms of theatrical performance in like the history of theater. And clowns are really about kind of failing and looking dumb publicly. And if you're not failing and looking dumb publicly as a cartoon, you have a problem. Because it's really about being so goofy. So that's the best piece of advice is like be okay with embarrassing yourself, basically. And the worst piece of advice? Oh my gosh. That's so interesting that I like can't think of something right now. It's always stuff that's superficial, you know, it's always stuff like that you need to be worried about how you look and that you need to brand yourself well and all of that stuff because we get so hyper fixated on those things and I don't think they matter that much.
Oh, don't you love living in a world where people care about your Instagram followers, how many Instagram followers you have, and all this other nonsense? Come on,
Yeah,
it's great.
it is exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, it's like, okay, wow, you're gonna spend so much energy thinking about that nonsense. It's not artistic.
I mean, I've said this before many times, but I think the biggest problem I have with the industry as a whole is like they're treating people like brands. Everyone has to be their own self brand, and I hate that. I don't like that. I'm like, can we just be people? Can we just like judge actors on the quality of their work instead of just like how much of a brand they are, you know?
I agree with you totally. Yeah. When I think about some of my favorite actors, I'm like, what's their brand? You know, it's not really about that. It's about how they make you feel.
Yeah, I know. It's like you're not going like you said with Robin Williams, like you don't think about like him as a brand, you think of him as an actor. You think about his roles, his characters, not what he, not the stuff that he was like known for posting on social media or whatever, you know? Like,
Yeah, honestly, that's such a good point. Can we imagine Robin Williams having Instagram? Like, he would never. Not to say that having Instagram is bad, but yeah, just to second your point about we don't all need to be a brand.
with things being more competitive they are now than they were when you were a kid, do you feel like it's made things harder for people to break into the business, or do you think it's made things easier?
I think it's so much harder now. It's so much more saturated. There's now usually I'm auditioning against like 300 or 400 people. That's crazy. Um, I think people know that being a voice actor is a career now. I think even 20 years ago, it's like not everybody would even think about that. Um, and it's way more accessible, you know? You can audition online. You can audition on voices.com. Um, so yeah, no, it's infinitely more competitive.
And with things being more competitive, do you feel like it's made things a lot difficult, much more difficult for you to stand out as an actor?
I think yes, I think I'm very lucky with voice because I've been doing it for so long. And I've also worked with so many incredible people that I've seen how to have longevity. And I kind of pick one person at a time to like fixate on and try to do what they can do. So like right now I'm very fixated on Eric Bauza, who is like absolutely my VO hero, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But he's like the voice matching god, you know, nobody does it like him. And he's made himself completely indispensable. Like, what would the industry do without him? They'd be in trouble because he replaces problematic actors. He replaces actors who've passed away. He's like he can do anything. So fixating on him has just made me be like, I need to expand my range, get better at voice matching to make myself indispensable or as close to that as is possible before AI takes all our jobs.
No, I love that mentality. I love the if you're gonna come for the king, you best go for the head mentality. Because I feel like more people need to have that mentality because like you are competing with and with the Bowsers of the world and all these other people, and it's like, yeah, you gotta like step your game up, man. Like if you want to survive.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I got obsessed with D. Bradley Baker like 3 years ago. I was like, this guy makes his living doing animal sounds, and he's the best at it on the planet. But then I was like, okay, let me fixate on this. And then I started booking all of these nonverbal character roles. Like I play a chick on a show called Dylan's Playtime Adventures, and all she says is cheep, 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 cheep. She just says cheap. That's all she says. And it's like the greatest job in the world. And it's because I started fixating on how to express emotion with like very small sounds. So yeah, find your niche.
And would you say you found your niche, or are you still looking?
I think my objective and my goal is a lofty one, and it's gonna take time for me to get as technically talented as I hope to be. So I'm working on impressions every day now.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep grinding, man. That's all.
100%.
That's the best advice I can give on this podcast, where it's like, just keep grinding and maybe you'll book something, maybe you won't, who knows?
Yes, you cannot give up and you cannot get lazy because if you're lazy, trust me, someone else is working that day that you're taking a rest.
Yep. Anyway, before I wrap this up, can you give us an update on what you're currently working on and where can people find you online?
Yes, of course. I am currently working on a show for Nalvana and Toy Keto, which is a toy company. The show is called Pinata Smashlings. It's based on a Roblox game, and I play a chunky little purple unicorn named Tootie Bell. And I'm working on another show called Mermicorno Starfall that will be on HBO. It's for Warner Brothers, and it is about mermicornos, which are half unicorns, half mermaids. And yeah, the show is about creativity and friendship, and it's an adventure comedy. And I'm really excited that Barney has just come out. Barney's World is now out, and I play Baby Bop, which is a huge honor. Oh, and you can find me at Bryn McAuley on Instagram.
All right, thank you so much for taking the time off to do this. I know this has been a quick one, but you're a busy lady, and thank you so much for even taking the time out to talk to me. It's been a lot of
Thank you
fun.
for having me. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.